Hello, my name's Frederic Wake-Walker and I'm the director of the Rake's Progress here at 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐑𝐚𝐤𝐬𝐏𝐫𝐨𝐠𝐫𝐞. For me, the journey of the Rake is a journey of disconnection. Tom Rakewell disconnects himself from nature, from love, from himself even, and so that by the end of the piece, he's really lost everything. The piece is incredibly tragic, following this story of this young man and his fall, but also the opera is incredibly funny, enjoyable, and so it's this really wonderful and strange mix of tragedy and comedy. Stravinsky and Auden, who wrote the words for the opera, were living in California when they wrote this piece after the Second World War. And one big theme in this opera is about criticizing the capitalist system of America after the Second World War. And so I believe that for any director now, it is important to criticize the capitalist system of the time in which we're making the production. So I think today this piece speaks really powerfully, because it's a story of disconnection. And I think that our capitalist system now, thinking about it from a very digital point of view, we are becoming very disconnected from nature and from ourselves. And so this production is trying to criticize and pinpoint those elements of our life today. The stage you can't really see very much at the moment, but the idea is that we use a lot of screens and a lot of video. And we start in a more natural 18th century naive world that represents the countryside and the world of Anne, true love, and her father. And then as we go into London, we become more digital, more artificial. And so for me, London doesn't just represent a city that is immoral and that is corrupting, but London also represents this digital world of disconnection that we are now living in. One of the most interesting things about this piece for me is that the source of this opera is not something literary, it's something visual. It's Hogarth's etchings of the Rake's Progress from the 18th century. And so at the source of this piece is something very visual. And so I think that any production of the Rake's Progress has to take the visual element, the aesthetic element of the production very, very seriously. And so we have used a lot of collage, a lot of different references from both the 18th century, from the 20th century, and from contemporary culture, and really mixed it together in a similar way to how Stravinsky does with the music. Because every scene is inspired by a picture, it feels like every scene is also its own little opera. And so every scene has its own very clear and very strong aesthetic. And we draw, as I say, from Hogarth and from 18th century images all the way up to Lady Gaga and social media influences.